Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me. It's Steve again, and today I'm at the Longevity Now conference in Orange County with Steve Adler. Steve Adler, give it up, brother.
Right on.
Right
Thanks
on.
for being back here.
Yes, so good. So I heard about Steve. Ronnie and Hoy were living with me for a few months, about almost a year ago, and I kept hearing Steve Adler, Steve Adler, Steve Adler. You got to meet this guy, Steve Adler. And I got to learn that Steve Adler was the inventor, the owner, creator of Sacred Chocolate, and that is the chocolate. And I hear David Wolf, who is like the chocolate expert, keeps going to Steve Adler's Sacred Chocolate, so I had to get you on my show. So honored to have you. So tell me just a little like your story, how you got into chocolate, and then we'll wrap it up with how people can find you.
Sure, yes. Originally, it began in 1993 with Tony Robbins.
Wow!
Yeah, he got me into basically raw foods. I read his book Unlimited Power, Chapter 10, and it kind of talked about juicing and food combining and vegetarianism. And so I shifted my focus into that area at that point, and one thing led to another. I ended up meeting David Wolf around 1995, 96. We became fast friends, and we're both way into raw foods at that point. Hormuz, all kinds of esoteric things having to do with health, longevity. And then what happened was David had discovered that raw cacao bean was a superfood around, I think it was around the year 2000 or so, somewhere around there. And he started talking to me about it. And he would send me these raw cacao beans in the mail just as a gift. And he'd say, hey, put them in your smoothie, they're good for you. And so I did that, of course, but I wasn't that thrilled about just eating the raw cacao bean straight. For me, it was just a little bitter. And I started thinking that I want to get into an actual raw foods business in the early 2000s. I'd been in the computer business and engineering for decades, and I thought, wow, it'd be really cool. So I actually started an online business first, and then I wanted to manufacture something for that online business. And right at that point, the raw chocolate craze was just starting, and David Wolf had just written his book with Shazzy, Naked Chocolate, and I went to a big raw chocolate extravaganza in New York City. David had rented this fancy club in New York City, and I went to that. This is in 2004, I think right after he had published that Naked Chocolate book, and I walked into this place and people were literally bouncing off the walls, doing cartwheels, throwing raw cacao beans up in the air. There were go-go dancers on the stage, big screen TVs. David's up there pontificating as the chocolate pope. And the whole bar was nothing but cacao smoothies, elixirs, hot drinks. I mean, it was amazing. I got the download. I was like, wow, this is not just like a little trend or fad. This is a movement. This is going to happen big time, long term. And that's when I really got inspired to get into, can I make a really gourmet, like finely tempered raw chocolate bar? So I actually approached David at that event. I don't know if he remembers. I said, you know what, I want to do something with you. And then, so it was just kind of incubating within me for the following year. I started playing around with raw chocolate in my kitchen, seeing if I could do it. After studying it online and just experimenting, I figured out that I could. And so I actually approached David again and said, hey, do you want to start Sacred Chocolate? He said, absolutely. So that's how Sacred Chocolate got started, and that was around 2005. We actually started building our factory in 2006. And the rest is history. Now we're doing cutting edge things, like putting things like xanthocumol, cutting edge nutraceuticals into chocolate. We're going to come out with a resveratrol bar soon. We're about to be involved in the launch of a new multi-level marketing business having to do with cannabinoids and CBDs. We're planning, hopefully, the intent is to put those CBDs into chocolate and have that chocolate go through that whole business and other outlets as well. So now at this point we're into really cutting edge nutraceutical chocolate.
That is so awesome. So it's like we grow up with chocolate. It's like no, don't have too much, or it's bad for you. This, and now we can find out that actually chocolate is not only okay to have, but absolutely awesome for us in so many ways. And I'm sure you put a lot of things into it that complement the cacao. And when we say cacao, that is the name for chocolate. That's where with the cacao field growing plants. Is that the correct term from it? So we get to have it now. And so tell me about your like theory or mixture or what you've learned to make synergy with chocolate.
Well, you know, it's been really just a journey and a blessing. I've somehow been called into this role as being like the raw kind of Willy Wonka out there, and I love it. I sometimes don my Willy Wonka outfit, and you know, I just have kind of a natural talent to bring formulas together. I think I've always had that. I can, for instance, just kind of put together a salad dressing on the spot and it always tastes amazing. So I just have this. I think it's just a talent of mine to like look at formulas and be able to taste things and know and fine tune things so that it tastes great and it's still really functional. And that was my goal with Sacred Chocolate, is to have something that tastes amazing but is still really functional and healthy for you, and capitalize on the superfood qualities of that raw cacao bean. So we do things that really no other chocolate company in the world, no, not even any raw chocolate company in the world does. Like we include the skin or the husk of the cacao bean in our chocolate. So, and that takes a long time. I mean, it's just because you've got to get all those particles really micronized. So, you know, my goal is to always come out with the very best I can possibly create. And so that takes time to never cut corners. Obviously, I'm constantly praying over the chocolate. I believe that the love is really the foundation behind the whole thing. It's my own passion, and it's really my own expression of my love. That's what Sacred Chocolate is all about, and that's why the main product line is in the shape of a heart. But it's not just any heart. That heart's built out of all perfect golden spirals. The entire heart shape is sacred geometry. All the cross sections are all perfect ellipses. All the saddle is all perfect ellipses. Everything about that's perfectly tangential, except the one teeny little point at the bottom. So everything about that whole thing is complete sacred geometry. I had to like crack open my old calculus books and do all kinds of crazy mathematics, get into Mathematica, do all kinds of stuff to create that. It took a few years to develop that actually. So really there's a lot of thought, intention, love behind Sacred Chocolate, and really one of the things that gives me the greatest joy besides coming up with formulas is just the knowingness that when somebody buys a heart out there in the world, that image of the heart is part of their experience. So that hopefully they understand that it's really all about living in the heart, coming from the heart space, communicating from the heart, being in touch with your heart, and basically living your whole life and your whole mission from your heart, because that's where your mission is. It's in your heart. It's not in your mind. So that's part of the purpose of Sacred Chocolate actually, is to not only get people into their hearts, not only to give and elevate them in any way possible, but to basically hopefully transmit that message to live in the heart.
Awesome, yeah. Well, that is right in alignment with the Pure Energy message, and I appreciate you. How can people get a hold of you or your chocolates?
Well, the easiest way is our website, of course, sacredchocolate.com. You can contact us through our website. You can order our products through our website. That's really the best way.
Great. Thank you, brother. Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah.
And thank you all for joining me again. Yes, the heart space is on. The Sacred Heart.
The heart space is on.
Get your chocolate on. Sacred Chocolate. Steve Adler in the house. Pure Energy, baby. Till the next time. Woo!